Lu Shan went to exit the store, and as soon as he stepped outside, he saw many people running into the store. All of them had heard the commotion from inside. While rushing inside, people were shouting to each other, "Hey, did you hear?" Then someone else said, "There's some big news going on in there." Everyone was rushing into the store with excitement, wanting to see or capture the news. Smiles spread across their faces. Some were thinking about capturing the moment and uploading it, while others were just eager to witness the new fight. Seeing all of this, Lu Shan became quite pleased. He said with a satisfied tone, "My thoughts are finally at peace." Then, returning to his original form with a serious expression, he said, "After all, he is Kyoha's brother. I couldn't go for the kill, but messing with him a little is still fair." After that, he took out his phone and looked at the recent news, where he also saw articles about Milton. Went Wu 3 Huo. The speed of news here is more than twice as fast as on Earth, he thought. One article headline read, "The Earl's son is extremely wicked. He's cruel." Another article said, "Girls, please keep the pigs around you safe. Some cruel people nowadays aren't even sparing them." After reading this news, Lu Shan smiled and said with satisfaction, "The rumors have already spread. There's no way he can clear his name now. Revenge shouldn't wait till morning. This is way more satisfying than just punching him." And then, happily whistling, he continued walking ahead. A few days later, Lu Shan and Fair set off for Tianwei Academy. There, Lu Shan walked alongside Fair, who began explaining things to him along the way. Tianwei Academy is the most prestigious academy in every star sector. It only recruits the most gifted martial arts prodigies. Once accepted, you get access to the best resources, treatment, and inheritances across the entire star region. Each student is treated like a noble of Viscount rank in the starry sky aristocracy because every graduate is, at the very least, level 11 and not just any ordinary level 11. Hearing this, Lu Shan curiously asked Fair whether he himself got into Tianwei Academy. Fair chuckled, shaking his head with a smile as he replied, "If only I did. But my talent isn't anything special. I wasn't admitted." However, the current chief enforcer, Lord Ender, is a Tianwei Academy graduate. He's only 5,000 years old, and he's already a level 12 powerhouse. Then he pointed at Lu Shan and continued, "But with your aptitude, passing the entrance test won't be a problem at all. If you perform exceptionally, you might even get the chance to head to the Tianwei Academy headquarters in the main star region of the Heavenly Serpent Galaxy. That's where true monstrous geniuses from across the stars gather. All races, all prodigies fighting for supremacy. Ordinary geniuses there are crushed to dust. Compared to that, the Yamu star region is pitifully small. So small it's laughable." Lu Shan made a face and asked with annoyance, "Small? It's so small that I can't even afford a single shuttle to travel within this star region." Bao replied, "Seriously, Tianwei Academy normally only recruits once every 1,000 years. The last enrollment was 300 years ago. If things had followed the usual pattern, you'd still have to wait another 700 years. Then he laughed and added, "But we're in luck. A very influential figure is coming to use the Tianwei Academy's bloodline stardust to test his aptitude. Thanks to him, we get the chance to piggyback on the event. As long as our aptitude meets the standard, we can be admitted as exceptions." As soon as Lu Shan heard this, he was shocked and asked in surprise, "Wait, 700 years? Who the hell has that kind of pull to arrange something like this?" Fair then began explaining, "It's the son of the Marquis of the Starry Sky, Lanji. For his family, the Lan clan, is famous across 10 star regions, and is led by level 13 powerhouses. Their ancestral home is actually right here in our Yamu star region. For the past 50,000 years, the Lan family has produced some of the most outstanding geniuses and warriors our star region has ever seen. The Marquis of Lan is known for his sentimentality, so his descendants always return to Yamu to take their aptitude tests. Last time his second son, Lanchi, was tested, it was revealed that he had the rare brilliant moon 5-star extraordinary life constitution. This time, it seems he's on the verge of another breakthrough, maybe even reaching the sunlight rank." Hearing about this, Lu Shan asked him, "Extraordinary constitutions aren't fixed. They can still be improved further." To which Fair reply, "It's extremely difficult, but not entirely impossible. A level 13 powerhouse, if willing to invest enough effort, can definitely ensure that all of his offspring are born with talents and constitutions comparable to his own. For example, the descendants can all be modified into genetically enhanced new humans." The moment Lu Shan heard this, he started thinking, "They can even be modified? That's so unfair." Then Fair laughed and said, "But in the end, those are just imitations and artificial creations. If they reach 70, No, even 50 of the original. That's already incredible. Extraordinary constitutions are the most mysterious and wondrous things in the entire universe. Someone like you who possesses such a naturally extraordinary constitution. Each one like you is an incredibly valuable blueprint material. I'd bet that once the testing is done, countless starry sky nobles will be lining up to marry off their daughters to you. You'll instantly become the most desirable golden bachelor in the whole star region. Lu Shan was listening very carefully. But the moment he heard this, he hesitated a little, confused, and said, Fair, if you had a daughter, considering our friendship, maybe I'd think about it. The moment Fair heard this, he got excited and joyfully said, Actually, I have a lot of children. Hearing that, Lu Shan became slightly confused, thinking, do these aliens not understand what a joke means? Then raising both hands in front of him, and waving them, he said, I was just kidding. I already have a wife. To this, Fair said, Come on, at your level. One life partner isn't nearly enough. A true powerhouse should be surrounded by beautiful women. Spread your seed, and move on. That's a blessing for them. Hearing this, Lu Shan's face turned red, and he started thinking, if I ever said something like that on the internet, I'd be cancelled in a heartbeat. What nonsense is he even spouting? Just then, Fair pulled out a poster, and showed it to him, asking, And one more thing. Have you seen this man anywhere? Lu Shan carefully looked at the poster and realized that the man in the picture was the exact form he had taken while attacking Milton. However, on the poster, his appearance looked even more terrifying. A massive scar ran across one of the eyes and the word wanted was stamped on it. After seeing the poster, Lu Shan replied to Fair, I don't know him. What happened? And then thought to himself, good thing I used spiritual energy to alter how I looked in everyone else's eyes. But still, damn, that's ugly. Fair then explained, that guy is wanted by the Sith family. They're hunting him down. Rumor has it he completely humiliated Milton. Hearing that, Lu Shan said, serves him right. If it weren't for the fact that I have some ties with his sister, I would have beaten the crap out of him right there. Fair laughed and said, so you've got past grudges, too. Well, it doesn't matter. For all you know, once your extraordinary constitution is revealed, the Sith family might come crying, begging you to marry their daughter. Anyway, we're here. Look at that. The gate of the starry sky. Lu Shan, along with Fair, looked out from the spaceship to see the stunning view beyond. They had just passed through a red-colored portal and arrived elsewhere. As they crossed the portal, Fair told Lu Shan, the Yummy Star region fell during the alien beast invasion. This portal, it's the last battleground we've held on to. Lu Shan then asked about the massive sun-like disk in front of them. Shocked by its enormous size, looking out the window, he saw a colossal disk and asked about it in amazement. Fair explained that it is the Star Destiny disk. It's used to test bloodlines and rank extraordinary constitutions. It's said that if a legendary immortal bloodline descends into this world, all the pearls in the disk will ignite with a radiance that shakes the entire starry sky, creating an unimaginable phenomenon. For hearing this, Lu Shan asked, how does that work exactly? Tell me. Fair replied, no one knows. Since the birth of the Yamu Star region, this Star Destiny disk has never been fully ignited. Even the most powerful martial artists could only light up less than half of it. After that, the two of them got off the spaceship and arrived in front of a gigantic stargate. Stepping out from the spacecraft, Lu Shan and Fair began walking toward the stage. At that moment, an old man stood there holding something like a staff in his hand. The stage was already crowded with many people. As soon as Lu Shan stepped onto the stage with Fair, Fair turned to him and began explaining about the old man, saying, that is Lord Moyan, the Dean of Tianwei Academy in the Yamu Star District, one of the most powerful beings in the entire star region. Hearing this, Lu Shan thought, seriously, he radiates the same aura as Cherries. At the very least, he's a level 12, and an authentic, living, top-tier powerhouse. He must be the one in charge of conducting the test. Just then, another spaceship descended from the sky, and from inside, two individuals landed directly in the area and walked seriously toward the stage. As soon as they arrived, they respectfully bowed their heads in front of the dean. Seeing them, Lu Shan's expression turned serious as he thought to himself, such an overwhelming aura of dominance. He's actually a level 12 martial artist. His strength is on par with the Dean of Tianwei Academy. To have a level 12 powerhouse serving as a bodyguard, this truly reflects the deep foundation of the Star Marquis family. The unknown man then respectfully addressed the Dean. Dean Moyan, my father asked me to convey his greetings to you. Hearing this, the Dean replied politely, I appreciate Marquis Leno's thoughts. In fact, the opening of the Starfall Fate Plate this time is not solely because of you. To which the unknown young man asked, "Is there someone here who you're actually looking forward to seeing?" The dean chuckled in response and said, "Let's begin first. We'll talk afterward." With that, the dean lifted his staff and pointed toward the sky, gesturing to everyone while explaining, "You all are truly here at the perfect moment. The once in a millennium Starfall Fate Play Aptitude test is officially beginning. Please hurry up and step forward." Then he added with a spark of curiosity in his eyes, "I really wonder what kind of surprises the so-called genius mentioned by the chief enforcer will bring me today." Lucian listened intently to his every word. After listening to Aniclimax, Lucian told her, "I will do whatever I can and give my best effort." As he said this, he began thinking to himself, "During this time, the Yamu Star region has given me countless benefits. Forget about other things. Just that spaceship, the White Hole Explorer, is alone worth billions of black crystal coins, and that's just the cost of raw materials, not the selling price. On top of that, the various cultivation resources I've received are too many to count. I've taken so much that I even feel embarrassed. And now they've even helped solve the problems of my hometown. If I don't do something for the Yamu Star region in return, I truly won't feel at ease in my heart." Just then, Pavlov Sebastian laughed and spoke to Lucian. "Would you be interested in joining a competition? A chance to spar with geniuses from other star regions to exchange martial arts and strengthen yourself." Hearing this, Lucian asked curiously what kind of competition it was. Pavlov Sebastian then explained, "What I mean is, in the name of the Yamu Star region, we plan to unite with 13 surrounding star regions and initiate an interstellar scale martial arts genius exchange tournament." After that, through his device, Pavlov Sebastian displayed everything to Lucian, saying, "There will be geniuses from 13 different star regions from different civilizations and different races, all gathered here, and they'll serve as your sparring partners." Lucian was taken aback when he heard the word sparring partner. Then, half to himself, he muttered, "This really is a grand stage of the starry sky. If you dare, then come. A clash of all races where heaven's chosen collide. Just the thought of getting the chance to crush the little heads of those so-called star-level geniuses from different regions and races fills me with limitless excitement." After this, he walked over to Pavlov Sebastian and said, "All right, I accept." As soon as Pavlov Sebastian heard Lucian's answer, he smiled happily and said, "No rush. For now, it's only an idea. We still need to ask the other star regions whether they agree or not. And the specifics of who will participate remain to be discussed. But the key is none other than you. The only thing you need to do right now is cultivate, keep training, and keep growing stronger." Standing beside him, Aniclimax also explained to Lucian, "Even though an immortal grade bloodline is extremely powerful, your cultivation realm is still a little too low. Other star regions surely don't have geniuses with immortal grade bloodlines, but there will definitely be quite a few at the Radiant Moon level, the Sunlight level, and others. Level 12 experts won't be participating, but level 11 geniuses will definitely not be lacking." Pavlov Sebastian, who was also listening from the side, added his view. "That's right. But don't get too carried away. The main purpose of this tournament is to gather people as your sparring partners. Winning or losing, rankings they don't really matter. After all, your future will be far greater than theirs, thousands of times broader." Then, continuing his words, he suddenly released an overwhelming pressure, and his voice grew firmer. "But still, I want this unprecedented cross-star region tournament of top-level geniuses to become a battle that shakes the heavens. A chance to flaunt the might of the immortal grade bloodline to make the name of our Yamu Star region resound across the stars." Listening to their words, Lucian smiled and said, "All of them just level 11 opponents. That's not enough. At the very least, bring in more level 12 martial geniuses. Otherwise, the pressure will be too small, too boring." As soon as he said that, both Pavlov Sebastian and Aniclimax were left completely stunned. At this moment, on Lucian's home planet, Azure Star, a fat man could be seen near the seashore. Around him, a few girls were entertaining him with a dance while he sat back comfortably, sipping coconut water and enjoying himself. Suddenly, his device rang with an incoming call. Seeing it, he picked up and said directly, "Hey, Mars, guess how much money I've made on this trip?" On the device, an image of a man appeared. It was Mars. He didn't respond right away, just listened. The fat man, too excited to hold it in, shouted, 100,000, at least 100,000, and in black crystal coins. The moment Mars heard this, he was stunned and said in disbelief, "What the hell? You're not joking, are you? That's incredible." Hearing his praise, the fat man laughed proudly and said, "You have no idea how wealthy this low-level resource star really is. My previous guide was such a fool. Every time he came here to collect resources, Whatever the boss told him to take, he took exactly that amount. Can you believe how stupid he was? He hiffed. But that's good for me. If he wasn't a fool, I wouldn't have gotten this lucky. As long as I come here a few more times, I'll soon have enough to buy a house, buy a spaceship, and even prepare the bride price to marry Marina. Saying this, he burst out laughing and shouted loudly, those gifts I gave back then sure weren't wasted. With just one move, I got transferred to the resource department, and the profits are overflowing. The money is spent on gifts. I earned it all back in just one trip. Hearing this, Mars replied, damn. Running around in the grassroots may be tough, but seeing you like this on every resource star, you get the highest treatment and services, plus the chance to enjoy the unique scenery of different planets, not to mention beauties and delicacies. With this kind of life, I'd want to transfer to the resource department, too. The fat man smirked and said, you can't say it like that. Some places have plenty of profits, but others are barren wastelands. Take where I am now. This at 28,462 Azure Star. From the outside, it looks ordinary, and its martial arts civilization has only existed for 300 years. But who would have thought that their exploration of the planet's crystal vein origins had already reached 90? This planet alone gave me nearly 10,000 black crystal coins. Listening to this, Mars' face turned more serious. And with concern, he said, that's outrageous. But if this planet has such rich crystal production, surely it must also have its share of martial experts. Be careful not to capsize in a ditch. People from low-level civilizations are often wild and savage. If you push them too hard, they might gang up and slaughter you. Hearing this, the fat man just smiled confidently and said, I am more cautious than you. I'd already investigated everything. The strongest on Azure Star are only at level 9, and their number is less than 100. As for their civilization's inheritance, it's strange. The lower-level martial inheritance looks advanced, but at the top level, their inheritance is extremely backward. Seems like it's because a genius called the War God was born here, someone who already left the planet, and stepped into the starry skies. I guess the advanced inheritance at the lower level was bought from outside and spread here. After all, low-level inheritances are cheap. When Mars heard this, he became even more serious and said, a genius capable of leaving his planet from an indigenous civilization is never simple. Be careful, or you might step on a landmine. The fat man laughed carelessly and said, what's there to fear? This planet hasn't even been approved for a level 10 martial qualification license, which means it has never produced a warrior above level 9. No matter how many level 9 show up, I can beat them all. After this, Mars said, fine, do as you wish. But listen, something big happened recently in the main star region. In the neighboring Yamu star region, a super genius with an immortal level extraordinary life constitution was born. It shook all the star regions. The fat man was shocked when he heard this. Immortal level. Isn't that supposed to be just a legend? Dan. Mars sighed and said, check it yourself and you'll know. Sigh. Originally, that genius was from our White Mist star region. But due to the negligence of a certain enforcer, the Yami star region secretly stole him away. That enforcer was punished and sent into exile on the battlefield star for 3,000 years. After giving some more details, the fat man frowned in thought and muttered, to think something like this happened. The Yamu star region sure has some tricks. Mars replied, exactly. You have no idea right now. The nobles in the main star region are going crazy, scoring the low-level civilizations onto their territories for talents. It has already become a unique trend. Oh, and let me remind you, don't go too far on these low-level resource planets. If you end up provoking a monstrous genius, you won't be able to handle it. Hearing this, the fat man grew nervous and quickly denied it, saying, no, that won't happen. How could I possibly provoke someone like that? I'm in the 2837 star cluster. It's practically the outskirts of the outskirts. But as soon as he said this, Mars checked his device and suddenly, with surprise, he exclaimed, what did you just say? Wait, it looks like that very genius is in your star cluster, brother. Don't tell me you're messing with me. The fat man, watching Mars's reaction, began to sweat heavily. His face turned pale with fear, sweat dripping from his forehead. Still, he tried to laugh it off, shouting, nonsense. Even if that genius really is in the 2837 star cluster, there are tens of millions of life planets here. The chances are 1 in a billion that I'd run into him. If I really do, I'll stand on my head while drinking. Upon seeing the testing disc, our hero, Lu Shen, first makes a light cut on his hand to begin the test and then places that hand on the disc. The moment his spiritual power starts flowing from his hand into the disc, The power measuring needle attached to it begins to move automatically. As soon as the needle starts shifting, Fair, standing behind him, is extremely shocked, wondering what just happened. Meanwhile, on the stage, the fire-type power inside Lu Shen continues flowing out of his body and entering the disc. When Lu Shen sends a bit more power into the device, a powerful pressure begins to rise around the area. A wave of fire, like energy, emerges and starts swirling in front of the disc. As soon as the disc senses this massive surge of power, the needle begins to spin round and round on its own. Seeing this, the people present there become extremely shocked. The moment Fair sees that Lu Shen's result is some class, he is stunned. Then, in excitement, he shouts, "This is truly some class. And this is no ordinary some class. This is way beyond Lanch's some class level." The people present there are also incredibly shocked upon seeing Lu Shen's result. They whisper all sorts of things, some are so stunned they can't speak at all, while others keep asking what that was. No one has any idea what is happening, and everyone is thinking the same thing. Who is this guy? Meanwhile, Lu Shen is still standing calmly on the stage. On the other side, both Lanch and the Dean are equally stunned after seeing the result. Lanch is so shocked that he exclaims in disbelief, "What kind of star-born power could radiate such light?" Standing beside him, the Dean also says in astonishment, "This young man is truly unbelievable. He's really reached some class." Back on stage, Lu Shen looks at his some class level result and smiles as if to say, "Just some class. Perhaps that's still not my limit." The moment he speaks those words, a stream of dark-colored energy bursts from his body and strikes the disc directly. As soon as the disc senses this power, a new disturbance starts forming inside it once again. After this, Lu Shen laughs and says, "I'm still not satisfied with this result." Saying that, he lets out a loud roar and channels even more power from deep within his body into the disc. As soon as Lu Shen does this, massive waves of fire begin erupting all around, and this time, spiritual firebirds also begin to emerge from the flames. At that very moment, a powerful energy bursts from his body and shoots straight up into the sky. This energy is so immensely powerful that the people present can't even stand properly. Everyone who sees it is utterly shocked, wondering what kind of power this is. Someone gasps in disbelief and says, the space seems to have been distorted by him." Just then, someone's eyes catch something in the sky. He points upward and shouts to everyone, "Look up there, there's something in the sky." As the others follow his gaze, fear clearly appears in their eyes. They are now not only stunned, but deeply afraid. What is that thing? On that very day, many of the people present come to a realization: the gap in talent is something that can never be crossed in a lifetime. Those who are gifted are born that way and cannot be competed with. Some people are even smiling in amazement as they watch it unfold. At the same time, we see Fair. His body is trembling in shock, and he can't believe his own eyes. In disbelief, he says, "How is it possible? A 16,000-meter Dharma form. It's twice as powerful as my super-grade Flame and Thunder Dharma form, and his aura is only level 9. Standing beside him is the Dean, who is also overwhelmed with shock. Just then, the Dean drops to the ground in astonishment and shouts, "Anomalies! So many anomalies! He is only level 9. How is this possible? Could it be that he is?" Back on stage, Lu Shen, after revealing his Dharma body, calmly controls his enormous form and says, "The Dharma form is too large and difficult to control. It is a better choice to concentrate all the power on the body." Right after saying this, he starts controlling his Dharma body again. Moving his hands toward the disc, he says, "So then, let's start again." With that, he places his hand back on the disc and says, "Spin it again for me." As soon as he says this, he shouts loudly, and sends his spiritual power rushing back into the disc. The moment the disc senses Lu Shen's spiritual power, it starts spinning again. The needle inside begins rotating continuously without pause. Meanwhile, on the other side, Lanch is also completely stunned by Lu Shen's power. In fact, the pressure is so overwhelmingly strong that even he can't stand properly. Since he had already used his power earlier, he is struggling even more. Just then, his bodyguard rushes over to him, holds him up for support, and asks, "Young master, are you all right?" At that moment, blood is coming from Lanch's mouth and eyes. Looking at his bodyguard, he says, "How can this be possible? How is this possible?" Even his bodyguard looks toward Lu Shen, and thinks to himself, even Lanch had to use all his strength with both hands to push the Starfall fate plate. But this guy did it with just one hand, like rolling a tire. Is this reasonable? Is this scientific? Is this realistic? Where did this monster come from? Is this still the sub-Jupiter region? On the stage, The needle of the disc is spinning so fast that people can't believe their eyes. The continuous stream of power emerging from Lu Sheng is not letting the needle stop at all. His power is so immensely strong that it is exerting pressure over the entire area. At the same time, we see a spaceship in the sky. Inside, the same girl who had come for Lu Sheng sees his power and says in astonishment, "This power can't even be described in words. I thought Fair had just found someone with exceptional talent, but I didn't expect it to be a genius as bright as the sun." Standing beside her, the old man, seeing Lu Sheng's power, says in disbelief, "Son, the sun is the ultimate, and this is far beyond the ultimate." He then shouts to his servant to increase the speed of the spaceship so he can see Lu Sheng immediately, ordering full speed ahead. Hearing this, his servant replies, "Okay." Meanwhile, back on stage, when Lu Sheng sees the needle on the disc coming to a halt, he says, "Is this only 9 stars of the sun level all?" He starts wondering, what's above the sun? Far didn't tell me, so I'm a little curious. I'll give it a try, but I have to be careful not to break the star plate. Then, he immediately sends even more power into the disc and shouts, "Hold on for Ma." The God Illumination Underworld King scripture is fully unleashed. With the vital energy buff active, he yells, "Give me more." As this power surges back into the disc, a powerful pressure once again causes it to shake violently. Watching from a distance, Lanch exclaims in shock, "Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Even in the main star region of the Serpentine Galaxy, there are only a few beings above the sun. How could he possibly do this?" His bodyguard, equally stunned, says, 9 stars of the sun. No, he's not satisfied with the ultimate of the sun. It's not that easy to achieve anything above the sun. This is a bit too much. Others who are watching are also astonished, saying, "The starfall fate plate was spinning so fast that it made a mechanical jamming sound, meaning that the road ahead had come to an end, and there was no possibility of moving forward." Meanwhile, Lu Sheng, seeing that there is no major reaction from the disc, mutters a bit seriously, "What is happening? Is this real?" However, in excitement, he crazily shouts once more, "I still have strength left. My stellar supreme body is definitely more than just the 9 stars of the sun. Since it's still not enough, I'll try harder." The moment he says this, he once again channels his power into the disc. Lu Sheng's 10,000 immortal cells burn crazily, transforming and evolving once again. The golden light grows, even more dazzling, emerging from the center of his brow like the third eye of a god. At this moment, Trini's was in Leo's clutches. And when Leo looked outside the spaceship, and saw such a powerful lightning storm, he was terrified. He couldn't understand what was out there. In anger, he threw Trini's to the other side and shouted furiously, "What is this? What's going on here?" Just then, a few more people arrived and asked Leo, "Boss, what happened?" Leo was staring outside the spaceship, and in the blazing flames beyond, he suddenly caught sight of a figure. Shock filled him as he exclaimed in disbelief. Outside the spaceship, we could see our hero, Lu Sheng. His entire body was glowing in a brilliant golden light, and fire and lightning were manifesting all around him. The moment Leo saw this, he shouted angrily at his men, "Attack! With all your strength, attack the star ahead." Following Leo's command, small spaceships immediately launched from within the main ship, heading straight toward the star. All the spaceships were charging up, their laser cannons glowing with deadly energy, and the crew shouted, "We are ready to fire." As soon as the charge was complete, they all unleashed their firepower on the star inside which our hero was. The attack was ferocious, moving forward at full force. But the moment Lu Sheng felt the assault, he suddenly opened his eyes. As soon as his eyes opened, the incoming attacks were destroyed on their own. One by one, the spaceships surrounding the star also began to explode and disintegrate. With nothing but Lu Sheng's mental power, everything had been annihilated. Meanwhile, from another spaceship, Leo was watching this scene unfold. Panic seized him as he shouted to his men, "Scatter! Do you hear me? Scatter at once!" But there was no reply from the other side. The only sounds that came were the agonized screams and cries of pain. Hearing this, Leo fell to his knees. He couldn't believe what had just happened. He couldn't even comprehend what kind of being stood before him. Then we saw Lu Sheng emerge from within the star. His entire body was wrapped in blazing flames. As he stepped out, he waved his hand, instantly extinguishing the fire surrounding him, and his clothes reappeared neatly on his body. His eyes fixed on the spaceship ahead, and with a single flicker of motion, he appeared inside it. The sight of Lu Sheng made Leo tremble with fear as he asked, "Who are you?" At that moment, our hero stood before him, and as Leo felt the aura emanating from within, he froze in shock. How can you release such a powerful aura at just the 10th level? Seeing Lu Shen at the 10th level, Leo prepared himself for battle. He shouted angrily while charging forward, "Don't underestimate me." Lightning surged violently into his hand as he advanced toward our hero. Watching him draw closer, Lu Shen calmly used the Golden Crow perfect martial art technique. With a snap of his fingers, a fiery golden crow shot out from his hand. The moment it struck Leo, the lightning in his hand was instantly disrupted, and flames spread across his body. Leo screamed in agony, his body burning as he cried out, "Is this really the power of the 10th level?" But within moments, he was consumed by the flames and destroyed. His remaining team members, still clutching their weapons, were dumbfounded. Watching their boss suddenly vanish into nothingness left them horrified. "What? The boss is gone?" One shouted in disbelief. Another stammered, "This is terrifying." That was an 11th level top boss, destroyed in just a single strike. Everyone present felt as if their entire bodies had been struck by lightning. Their hearts filled with shock and dread, which was quickly followed by fear. Then, with just another snap of our hero's fingers, all of them were annihilated as well. Trinise, still sitting on the ground, looked around at the scene unfolding before her. She couldn't believe what had just happened. Lu Shen walked over to her and asked, "Are you all right? Contact the Star Police. I've already taken care of everything." The moment Trinise saw our hero, she immediately recognized him. With disbelief and awe, she asked, "Are you the immortal legend?" Quickly lowering her head respectfully, she said, "It's an honor to meet you, Adol." As she bowed, her mind was racing. Could this really be him? This is the might of immortality. Meanwhile, Lu Shen looked at his own body and murmured softly to himself, "How powerful I've truly become." At this moment, Lu Shen himself didn't even know the extent of his own strength. In fact, no one knew, and perhaps no one ever could. After this, the story shifts forward a little to where our hero is inside the spaceship, checking details and muttering to himself, "Every time I activate the Stellar Supreme Body, my clothes get destroyed. Luckily, I can use my spiritual power to reconstruct them. Otherwise, I'd really end up looking like some kind of exhibitionist." Then he begins talking to his family. The first person he calls is his wife. He greets her warmly and tells her, "I finally come out of quarantine." Taking advantage of the grand event being held in the Yamu Star District, the Interstellar Martial Arts Genius Exchange Conference, Lu Shen had arranged for his parents, his wife, and several martial saints he was on good terms with to be brought to the Yamu Star District. After talking with all of them for a while, he ends the call and murmurs to himself, "This should serve as a bit of preparation for my parents. When the time comes to move them away from Blue Star, it'll be much easier to explain. My target is the main star zone of the Yamu Star District. There, another grand event awaits me." Meanwhile, at the main satellite port of the Yamu Star District, thanks to countless resources provided by the nobility, Lu Shen's family had already reached a martial level equivalent to the 6th rank. His parents even looked much younger than before. Some people from Earth had also arrived on this new planet. Seeing the breathtaking sights, our hero's father exclaimed in awe, "So this is a higher-level civilized planet." His mother looked at the clothes she was wearing and said with a smile, "What fabric is this dress made from? It feels so nice and comfortable." At this time, our hero's wife and younger sister were also there. His sister, Lu King, took out her device, snapped a selfie, and immediately posted it. "Whoa, space civilization. I actually saw an extraterrestrial civilization with my own eyes. Guys, look at this." Donking Su also arrived and softly said, "So this is where Lu Shen came." Some other acquaintances who had once followed Lu Shen came too. One of them sighed emotionally, "Back then, when I used to follow Lord Lu, I never imagined a day like this would come." Just then, a group of locals from the planet approached respectfully, looking at our hero's family and saying, "Welcome, honored guests, to the 8th Star Zone. On behalf of the Yamu Star District Federation, we extend to you our sincerest and warmest welcome." Hearing this, our hero's father whispered in surprise, "Why do I feel like we're being treated like leaders? It's truly overwhelming." His mother chuckled and said, "Yes, it's all thanks to our Shanger." Then his younger sister excitedly pointed out, Oh, these clothes even have automatic translation. We can communicate without any barriers at all." Right after that, she grabbed one of the local planetary officials for another selfie. "Brothers, did you see this? This dark-skinned, courageous looking alien is actually the representative sent by the Yamu Star District government to welcome us." At that very moment, a massive spaceship descended. Seeing it, our hero's sister gasped in amazement. What a gigantic spacecraft. She quickly lifted her camera and added, "Look, guys, I'm taking a close-up shot." As the ship approached, One of the locals glanced at the symbol and blazoned on it. His eyes widened in shock and he stammered in disbelief. Could this be the very ones I think it is? At the party, the moment Vera saw our hero, Lu Sheng, she started walking toward him to talk. Just then, as soon as Milton's eyes fell on Vera and Lu Sheng, he became extremely angry. Muttering curses under his breath at our hero, he began moving toward the two of them. You reckless idiot. How dare you get so close to her at such an important event? He said angrily, before calling out Vera's name. As soon as Vera heard her brother's voice, she turned around and said, Brother, look who I met. Lu Sheng is also here. Milton came and stood in front of our hero, staring at him in anger. Then, in an irritated tone, he said, Did you rely on far to sneak into this place? It seems you didn't take my warning seriously at all. I will say it again. Shouting loudly, he added, Leave from here right now, otherwise you and your small home planet will be in danger. As Milton was yelling angrily, a voice came from behind. So, you're here. Hearing this, Milton turned around and saw that Lancer was standing there. The moment he saw Lancer, he was shocked and excitedly thought, was he talking to me just now? Did he come to see me? He quickly went toward Lancer to shake his hand and said, It's such a pleasure. I was just about to look for you. But you came to meet me first. He then introduced himself. My name is Milton. And began trying to flatter him. Seeing him standing so close, Lancer looked at him and asked, Who are you? Why are you blocking my way? Milton heard this and said, Sir, didn't you come here for me? You came to see me, right? Hearing that, Lancer shoved him aside and said, Get out of my way. Don't disturb me. I have something to discuss with Sir Lu Sheng. He pushed Milton so hard that he fell to the ground. Then Lancer walked straight up to our hero, stood before him respectfully, and said, Your Excellency Lu Sheng, your immortal bloodline is extremely rare, even in the main star region of the Serpentine Galaxy. He handed him a round, gold-shaped card and continued, I believe the sub-Jupiter region can't accommodate you for much longer. Our hero took the gold card, and Lancer smiled. When you come to the main star zone, I'd hope you can visit our land family as a guest. This is an invitation I formally extend to you on behalf of my father, Marcus Leno. The moment everyone heard this from Lancer, they were stunned. All at once, voices erupted. Immortal bloodline. One person exclaimed, Is this the same young man who is the legendary immortal? Another person standing nearby said, After all this time of inquiring, it turned out to be such an unremarkable young man. Others began whispering among themselves. Then one more person said, Even the land family had to formally invite him in the name of the family in an attempt to win him over and even addressed him respectfully as Your Excellency. After this, everyone started thinking about befriending our hero. People rushed toward him, and soon crowds surrounded him from all sides, inviting him to their homes. Seeing such a large crowd, our hero began to feel overwhelmed. Amidst this, Milton lay on the ground. Witnessing the scene, he became flustered and shocked, muttering, That little scoundrel I'd always looked down upon, believing he was repeatedly trying to get close to Vera and gain influence with the Civ family, was actually the real star of tonight's celebratory dinner. As the realization sank in, he started to faint, mumbling before losing consciousness. The legendary and mysterious owner of the immortal bloodline. The super genius that appears once every million years in the Jupiter region. Not only did I fail to connect with him, I also offended him twice. It's over. If my family finds out, I'm completely finished. Among the crowd stood Vera, who, surprised by this revelation, murmured, Is he the genius who caused the vision that day? Meanwhile, our hero was still surrounded by the crowd with Lancer standing behind him. Looking at him, our hero said, I'm in a bit of trouble at the moment, but I'll consider your suggestion. Hearing this, Lancer smiled happily and said, It seems so. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Lu Sheng. The crowd still surrounded our hero from every side. Looking at them all, he felt a wave of tension. It's really a headache to have so many people surrounding me. I can only deal with it casually. At the very time this celebration was taking place, 2 guards were seen walking out of a massive prison. As they stepped outside, Lanshan shielded his eyes from the sunlight and said, It's so dazzling. How long has it been since we last saw the sun? Standing in front of them was a man who addressed them, saying, Your spaceship is docked at Pier 284. You can pick it up with your voucher. Let's go. He then handed them a piece of paper. Shaolin took the paper and set it into. Hearing Shaolin say thank you, Lanshan turned to him. Shaolin, have you been kneeling for too long? They've kept us locked up for so long, and you still say thank you. This Shaolin replied, They treated me very well. Except for not having the right to communicate with the outside world, all the treatment I received was of the highest standard. He began recalling his days in captivity, surrounded by many women, enjoying himself. Hearing this, Lanshan looked shocked and said, "What the hell? You're saying you received the best treatment while you were incarcerated?" Zhao looked at him and asked, "Was it the sim for you? Didn't you get whatever you wanted?" At that, Lanshan grew a little nervous and said, "No, I also got exactly what I wanted." But in his mind, he remembered his own days of captivity, bound tightly, interrogated endlessly. It was just the highest level of treatment for a prisoner. They used every possible means to get the truth about Lu Xun from me, damn it. Gritting his teeth in anger, he said, "No, this matter is not over. I must make this public when I return." Trying to calm him down, Zhao said, "Forget. The fact that we were released means that everything has been settled. There's no point in dwelling on these things. Isn't it good enough to be alive, brother?" Hearing this, Lanshan clenched his teeth and said, "How can I not care? That's a genius who's at least Moon Splendor level. They might even reach Sunblaze level. A super genius. That was the first one I unearthed, and it was snatched away by someone from the sub-Jupiter region." Zhao placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Be more demanded. What if Lu Sheng's talent isn't as outstanding as we imagined? After all, the Sunblaze level isn't that easy to reach." Lanshan replied, "It's easy for you to say, but how many years does it take for our White Mist Star region to produce one?" While they were still talking, a voice suddenly rang out from behind. "My goodness, that immortal level master is only 20 years old. So young." Immediately, crowds of people began rushing past them, saying they wanted to see what he looked like. Everyone was running in the same direction. Watching them, Lanshan asked, "What are they talking about?" "Immortal level. What's that?" Helene flamed. "I thought it was a terrifying bloodline that only appeared in the Serpentine Star region." Hearing this, Lanshan was stunned. "This is the first time I've ever heard of a talent of that level." Then both of them suddenly had the same thought. "Wait a minute," they said. "A 20-year-old young man. Could it be him?" At that moment, an aircraft passed overhead, broadcasting, "Warm congratulations on the birth of an immortal, level extraordinary life form in our sub-Jupiter region. A genius that only appears once every million years." Inside the aircraft, a display became visible, showing our hero. Lanshan's eyes widened and he shouted in disbelief, "That's him, that's Lu Sheng. He's the immortal level star genius." After the massive storm our hero had created finally settled, peace returned to the city. In this calm, we see Skiller carrying his belongings. Seeing him, a few people whispered among themselves, "Lord Skiller, what happened? Isn't he still in his prime? Why would he suddenly retire?" They spoke quietly, and after hearing them, the woman standing beside them replied, "You still don't know. This time, due to his negligence, our White Mist Star region missed out on an extremely talented martial arts genius." Chief Enforcer Lennon was furious, thunderously angry. The people continued murmuring in low voices, and Skiller heard everything, blaming Farland for all of it. By now he was so angry that he raised the box in his hands and shouted in rage. Who could have thought that behind those thick eyebrows and big eyes, his heart would be so black? Sure, I was careless, too. But is he completely without fault? Not even one to blame. Seeing him like this, the people nearby grew frightened, and began to back away, whispering, "Oh no, he's about to explode. Let's get out of here." However, Skiller calmed his anger, and thought to himself, his emotion changing every second, as if menopause had arrived. "I really should retire." After thinking about all this, he said with disappointment, "Forget it. I'll retire then. I haven't had a proper rest in a long time. I just bought Garden Star. This is the perfect chance to take my wife and kids on vacation." Then he brightened up, smiling as he said, "I've heard that Garden Star has syrup waterfalls, scullion oil noodle lakes, fields full of mutton skewers, and trees loaded with beer fruit." But at that moment, a display lit up in the sky, visible to everyone. From it, Lennon's furious voice rang out, now broadcasting an urgent announcement. 11th level Enforcer Skiller, due to negligence, has committed an unforgivable and severe mistake in his work. He has caused immeasurable losses to the White Mist Star region. The situation is extremely serious, the crime unforgivable, and the punishment is as follows. His noble title will be revoked for life, and for 3 generations, his family will be barred from applying for noble status. He will be stripped of his 11th level Enforcer position. He will be reassigned to guard an 8th level battlefield star for 3,000 years. Hearing this announcement, the box slipped from Skiller's hands and crashed to the ground. He cried out, "Why did this happen to me?" and began to weep. 3,000 years. It's over. I only let one person go. Does it really have to be this serious? Meanwhile, on the other side, we see our hero, Lu Sheng, continuing his training. With a powerful punch, he strikes the wall. The impact is so intense that the entire wall shatters into pieces. He then stops his training, walks forward, and says unlimited supply of all cultivation resources, a Viscount title, a complete set of 11th level weapons and equipment, the latest private universe spaceship. After that, he sits down on a chair and takes a drink, smiling to himself. So, this is what it feels like to be the darling of a star region. It's absolutely amazing. An entire star region's resources leaning in my direction. Then he opens a display and starts checking through it. As long as my requests aren't too excessive, I can basically get anything I want. Looking at all these things, he smiles even wider. Now I really don't have to worry about cultivation resources anymore. And to think, back when I left Azure Star, I wanted to work hard and save enough money to buy a few life planets. I never imagined that before I knew it, I'd already own an entire star system. I'll pick a few good life planets and give one to each major province of Dragon Country. As he scrolls through the display, images of several planets appear, and he begins selecting them. Then his gaze falls upon one particular planet, and he gives a naughty smile. The other countries can just squeeze together on a single planet. After that, he starts thinking about Milton and says, now, if I want to teach Milton a lesson, I don't need to hide or hold back anymore. I can just smack him a few times right in front of his old man. His father would probably even clap and praise me for slapping him well. I wonder what Mom and Dad's reaction will be when they hear this news. He's just about to rest when a servant girl approaches. Seeing Lu Sheng, she says respectfully, Lord, all the planet-class spaceships you requested are already here. Hearing this, Lu Sheng smiles and says, all right, show me. I want to know about a spaceship that can accommodate the entire population of a planet. The servant girl hesitates slightly and says, it's just that the spaceship can't depart for now because that area belongs to the White Mist Star region. We're working on resolving it. The moment Lu Sheng hears this, he repeats, White Mist Star region. The guide had fallen to his knees, trembling. Right in front of him stood Luong, holding his weapon with its edge pressing firmly against the guide's shoulder. Just then the girl appeared, placing the heel of her high-heeled shoe on the guide's head. She said coldly, so this brat is the one who dared to steal profits from the immortal Earl's home planet. Hearing her words, Luong nodded in confirmation and then continued, press him down and interrogate him thoroughly. Let's see if he has done anything else outrageous on this planet. That way, when the immortal Earl returns, we'll have an explanation. At that moment, more people began stepping out of the spaceship one by one. Together, they all spoke, yes, we agree with this. Then one man walked forward, smiling, and said, in fact, we should thank this guy. If it weren't for a short-sighted fool like him, we wouldn't have gotten such a perfect chance to build ties with the immortal Earl. Let's use him as a sacrificial offering. Hearing this, Luong laughed and said, an immortal level bloodline. Though right now, he's only at level 9. Given time, he has the potential to walk beyond this star region, even beyond this galaxy. The girl, whose foot was still pressed against the guide's head, also smiled and added, yes, by then he may no longer just be an immortal Earl, but an immortal Marquis, or a Duke. No, perhaps even an immortal King. Luong sighed a little regretfully, and said, such a pity. If only he were from our White Mist Star region. Then he grew serious again, and continued. But even if not, with Speaker King Luopus's connections, getting a chance to forge ties is already a great stroke of fortune. Meanwhile, the guide was still kneeling, sweat pouring down his face, the girl's foot pressing firmly on his head. His heart pounded with fear as he thought, did I really siphon resources from the immortal Earl's home planet? A 1 in a billion chance, and I actually stumbled into it. If I had known this earlier, why the hell did I bother joining the resource department? I should have just bought a star lottery ticket and sat at home waiting for the prize. At that very moment, Lin Jiangyu, who had earlier been trapped by the guide, shifted slightly on the ground. Raising her head, she looked at the people before her, listening to their conversation. She was still lying on the floor when Luong walked up to her. He gently helped her up and asked with concern, are you all right? Did these people hurt you in any way? As he spoke, he pulled a small bottle from his inventory and poured its liquid onto the ground. Standing before him, Lin Jiangyu immediately caught the fragrance of the liquid and asked curiously, what is this? Its fragrance is so deep. The moment the liquid touched the earth, the barren ground instantly turned lush and green. Seeing the land around her burst into life, Lin Jiangyu was utterly astonished. She looked all around in disbelief and asked in shock, how did this happen? Still confused, She muttered to herself, to think the entire land could be revitalized in just an instant. Then suddenly she felt something within herself. With wide eyes, she whispered in amazement, "Wait, what is this feeling? Such a warm power. My injuries are being cleansed away along with the vitality spreading from the earth. This feels so comfortable." Right before her, Luong handed her the small bottle and explained, "I don't carry potions below level 11. This profound purple potion can indeed heal wounds, but for you, it must be diluted 100 million times before it's safe to drink. So, I had no choice but to pour it onto the land to nourish this planet. Standing at the very center, even the faint radiation you absorb is enough to heal your injuries, and even raise your strength by a great margin. After all, the immortal Earl's home planet cannot be too barren." Lin Jiangyu listened carefully to his words. Lowering her head respectfully, she smiled softly and said, "Thank you so much for saving my life." But in her heart, she was astonished. A single bottle of a potion could make the entire Azure planet evolve. This is far too precious. My injuries are just from a minor impact on my soul. With some rest, I could have recovered. This healing potion might actually be worth more than the planet itself." Even now, her body was still radiating heat. She could clearly feel the immense improvement in her strength brought about by this energy. Smiling happily to herself, she thought, "Before, I had to painstakingly gather energy crystals and trade for scraps from the guide's hands enduring those bitter days. But now, just by brushing against the aura of such a high-level life form, I grow stronger while simply standing here. Truly, it leaves one speechless." Her gaze shifted back to the group who were still tormenting the guide. The girl continued to kick him, scolding, "Shut your mouth. Stop spouting nonsense. Sit quietly." The guide trembled in fear and quickly replied, "As you command." Watching this, Lin Jingyu thought silently to herself, "Oh wonder. In their eyes, even a level 10 guide is nothing more than an ant. Just a flick of their finger, and he'd be crushed." Then with a tone of curiosity, she asked Luong, "By the way, sir, the immortal Earl you mentioned earlier, who exactly is he?" Hearing her question, Luong chuckled and explained, "Oh, right. I forgot. You people don't know about the immortal Earl. He is none other than the one who walked out from this very Azure planet, Lu Shang." The moment Lin Jiangyu heard Lu Shang's name from Luong's lips, she was stunned. Her heart shook with disbelief. Meanwhile, Luong continued speaking with a smile. "You call him the war god, don't you? Earl who possesses the most powerful immortal level transcendent physique in the history of both the White Mist Star region and the Yanu Star region. One he is known as the greatest genius in a million years across all 13 star regions. One that is why the Yanu Star Federation conferred upon him the title of immortal." The people standing in the distance also overheard this conversation. When Luong mentioned the name Lu Shang, some of them were startled and began whispering among themselves. Did you hear that? They said he was sent by Lu Shang." Another gasped in shock. What did you just say?" And then a flurry of discussions broke out. Someone else exclaimed, "Lord Lu only left the Azure planet a few months ago, and in the blink of an eye, he's already become one of the top figures in the starry skies." Another voice quickly added, "And the greatest genius in a million years." Everyone was dumbfounded. Meanwhile, Lin Jiangyu recalled the words of Dong Qingsu, who once told her that Lu Shan would set everything right and was doing well out there. When remembering this, Lin Jiangyu smiled softly to herself and thought, "When I asked Madame Lu before, she said he was doing just ordinary in the starry skies. Today, I finally understand what she meant by ordinary." On the other side of the galaxy, a spaceship was speeding towards the blue planet at full force. Inside the spaceship, RNC, Lu Shine, was sitting immersed in cultivation. After focusing for some time, he stepped out of the spaceship and delivered a powerful punch into space. The moment his mighty fist struck, space itself began to crack, and a terrifying void hole opened up. After unleashing this attack, Lu Shang smiled faintly, and muttered to himself in amazement, "This power, it can even collapse the void itself. Clearly, this is the same level of martial inheritance. Yet, why is it so much stronger than the wind martial path of Sarsis I inherited last time?" Perhaps it was because of that starfall fate during the test. At the very end, a massive surge of power from the starry sky rushed into my body, causing my strength to skyrocket. Then, with a serious expression, he said firmly, "Now I can even sense the Azure Star from several light years away. My perception has also grown tremendously. Master's Four Extremes Tao truly is infinitely profound. The inheritance I've just received has already pushed my palm techniques to the 5th realm. My fist techniques, blade techniques, spear techniques, axe techniques, and even movement arts They've all reached near the peak of the 5th level. At that moment, he pulled a phone out of his pocket. Looking at it, he said quietly, I remember they said they would contact someone to resolve this. Let's see if it has been taken care of. On the phone, Dong Su answered his call. She asked with concern in her voice, Lu Xiang, are you finally coming back? Seeing her, our MC's face lit up with happiness. He replied cheerfully, well, there's still half a day left. How about I finish everything first before returning? In response, Dong Su sighed lightly and said, it's resolved, but the commotion was a little too big. Hearing this, our MC looked puzzled and asked in confusion, too big of a commotion? How big could it possibly be? Dong Su smiled mysteriously, and said softly, you'll know once you return. Half a day later, the scene shifted. Lu Shan had already reached extremely close to Earth. But when he looked outside, his eyes widened in shock. Surrounding the planet were countless enormous spaceships, each one like a floating mountain suspended in the void. Their sheer number left him completely stunned and utterly bewildered. Seeing this overwhelming sight, he muttered in disbelief, can this even be called a little movement? Damn, this is way too much. His thoughts raced as he tried to make sense of it all. Just how many people did this council leader gather to help me? Was this really necessary? Just then, a voice from outside boomed loudly, is this the immortal Earl? Hearing this, Lu Xiang quickly raised his voice and responded firmly, I am not the immortal Earl. I am Lu Xiang. But the moment he said this, all the warships which had just been scattered across space moments ago suddenly moved into perfect formation. They left an open space in the center, saluting in unison, and their powerful voices echoed through the universe. Welcome. The immortal Earl returns to his homeworld. After such a long journey, Lu Shen had finally arrived on Earth. But the moment he set foot there, people immediately surrounded him. Seeing this, Lu Shen grew a little anxious. What kind of scene was this? At that moment, countless people stood around him, each introducing their planet and their family. Someone shouted, White Mist Star Region, Halong family. Luong greets the immortal Count. Then another voice came from behind, I am from the White Sparrow Flower family. And soon after, another declared, I am from the Gardener Starry Sky Demon Lion family. Seeing so many people, Lu Sheng felt nervous. He greeted them all with a hesitant, hello. Then muttered to himself, just how many people have they gathered here? Could it be they sent an entire fleet of star destroyers? That guy would never have imagined that just secretly sipping a few drops of blood would result in dozens of cannons all aimed at me. He then thanked everyone present for coming to support his planet. Just as he spoke, Luom arrived, respectfully bowing before him and said, Immortal Count, you are too polite. After all, you can also be considered one of our White Mist Star region's people. Such a small matter is hardly worth mentioning. The girl who had come with Luom also smiled and said, Count Lufeng is absolutely right. Moreover, such corrupt federal parasites who abuse power and deceive their superiors should be punished by all. Not to mention that he foolishly dared to provoke the immortal Count's home world. Even if he had harmed any other planet, we would still have been bound to act. Hearing this, our MC smiled and said, if you all don't mind, you can stay here a little longer. I truly want to thank you all for your help. Luong respectfully replied, then I'll shamelessly trouble you for a few more days. After all, we must ensure the items delivered are confirmed without issue. Only then can we feel at ease. Hearing this, Lu Shen was a little surprised and asked, Gene optimization fluid. What is that? The girl standing beside Lu Feng explained, yes, this is a small gift from all of us. Surely it won't be long before you obtain a star domain fief. Your fellow countrymen can serve as the first group of residents, assisting in the governance of other territories in the future. But their strength is still somewhat weak. So, we specially prepared a large batch of gene optimization fluid. Though not considered anything extraordinary, it can raise the potential limit of ordinary people without any martial foundation up to the theoretical height of level 7. Standing behind our MC, Lin Yu was stunned upon hearing this and said, what? Everyone can reach level 7. Luon explained, yes, and with my Earth-arching level 12 potion, it won't be long before Azure Blue Star fully enters an age where everyone is as powerful as dragons. Hearing this, the people of Earth who were present began speaking to each other excitedly. We can advance. We can soar through the heavens like birds, one said. Another cried out, yes, we are inspired by Lu Sheng. Hearing their voices, our MC first thought to himself seriously, to think that all ordinary people can directly reach level 7. Is this the true weight carried by the words higher civilization? Then smiling, he continued thinking, but this is truly good. My family's lifespan can be extended by several hundred years. Originally, I had planned to slowly reform Azure Blue Star, but now it has all been completed in one step. Just then, a man standing among Luofan and the others stepped forward and said, "After the Immortal Count receives his fief in the future, surely you will want to take your home world's people with you." "Correct. Since such arrangements must be made anyway, I shall gift the Immortal Count 1,000 Explorer-class spaceships." Hearing this, our MC looked at him and thought, another lavish gift. Although these are only mid to high level ships, they are far beyond what ordinary people could ever buy. And he just gave 1,000 of them at once. Thinking this, he said aloud, "Thank you very much." Then another person came forward, shouting, "I will also gift the Immortal Count's homeworld 10 squads of high-grade Silver Guardians to guard against star pirates." After that, another shouted, "Then I will send 1,000,000 sets of battle armor." And so one after another, everyone promised to give our MC different things. Hearing all this, our MC grew a little nervous. Everyone was overly enthusiastic, each one desperately trying to form connections, which made Lu Sheng feel slightly awkward. Smiling, he said, "Everyone is very generous, but please use reason when giving." Still, countless items were left behind, rare resources worth hundreds of billions, even trillions, continuously being delivered. Laughing awkwardly, Lu Sheng said, "You are all far too kind." And in his heart, he thought, "Let them send. It would be best if every single person on Azure Blue Star could be armed and strengthened, their cultivation raised to the 9th rank martial saint. That way, even if I am not on Azure Blue Star, I can still feel at ease. After all, these favors, I can repay them 100 or even 1,000 times over in the future. But truthfully, I've never had enough time to strengthen Azure Blue Star. Now they've helped me tremendously." At this moment, we see Tan Zhangyu. Beside him stood Lin Zhangyu. She came up to him and said, "The complete reconstruction of the broken bloodline." Tan Zhangyu replied, "It has long since been reforged. Now it can be considered fully complete." Hearing this, Lin Zhangyu said, "Why bother competing with Lu Shang for no reason? They have once been defeated by someone like Lu Shang should be something to take pride in. From this day onward, Azure Blue Star will completely rise. All thanks to Lu Shang." After this, the story shifts a few days later to Ming'ai, where in the middle of the sea, we see Lu Sheng resting on a ship. At this moment, countless different spaceships are flying across the sky, descending above Lu Sheng's ship. Seeing them, Lu Sheng sighs and says with irritation, "Here comes another wave again." Ever since Luan and the others left, there has still been a constant stream of people arriving. Luckily, Lin Zhangyu and the others are there to receive them. Otherwise, I would have been annoyed to death. Just then, we see King wearing a swimsuit, walking toward him with a gentle smile. She teases warmly, "Doesn't this just show how popular you are?" Seeing her, Lu Sheng immediately stands up, walks closer, and laughs lightly as he replies, "These human relationships, they're the same even in the starry sky, exactly the same." Then, leaning in closer to her, he speaks in a deeply romantic tone, his eyes filled with seriousness, before kissing her lips. "In a while, I'll dive into the deep sea. If any strange changes occur, don't bother about me. You must escape quickly." He kisses her passionately, then pulls her tightly into his arms. Hearing his words, King Su becomes emotional, her eyes moist as she whispers softly, "I already know." After this, our MC jumps off his sea ship into the water, plunging straight into the depths. As he swims downward into the vast darkness, he murmurs in a heavy voice, "Nothing has changed. Blue Planet will still be destroyed after 8 years. Although now I no longer have to worry about the safety of Blue Planet since we can directly move away, I'm still very curious what exactly is the existence that can completely destroy Blue Planet. The system's calculation problem originates right here. Back then, during the battle with the Extreme Martial Saint, when I was seriously injured and fell into the deep sea abyss, I encountered that unspeakable god. Suddenly, huge, terrifying tentacles lash out, trying to attack him. Lu Sheng, with cold anger in his eyes, slashes them apart using the webbing between his fingers and roars, "Get away from me, you bastard. Don't you dare disturb me." After his counterattack, he lowers his gaze to his hand. There, an alien evil eye is revealed, glowing faintly. Seeing it, he mutters with a serious expression, "I almost forgot about this little thing." The alienated cell seems to have a special reaction toward that one, which means it's nearby. Determination blazing in his eyes, he surges downward at full speed, deeper into the abyss. He begins to sense turbulent movements ahead. After swimming further, he stops at a location. This was exactly where he wanted to come. Suddenly, the eye on his hand starts vibrating violently, and from all around, tentacles emerge again. His face hardens, turning serious. Something's not right. The surroundings suddenly became completely silent. But the alienated cell in my hand is going crazy, as if it's trying to escape from my body. Then, with a twisted smile, he chuckles coldly. Still, it just feels like something is missing. And then his expression shifts in realization. That's it. Consciousness fluctuations. In the past, whenever I was in the deep sea, I always felt the luring, bewitching consciousness fluctuations. But now, I can't sense them at all. Just then, out of the darkness, a monstrous, terrifying eye emerges, glowing malevolently. From within, a massive form begins to reveal itself, and a deep, horrifying voice echoes, "At last, you've come to meet me again." Our MC's face freezes in shock as he stares, his breath trembling. When he looks carefully, he sees it. From inside, a gigantic hand slowly emerges. It was incomparably huge. So, friends, that brings us to the end of this chapter. What twists await us next? We'll find out in the upcoming episode. We'll catch you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. What are your predictions for the next chapter? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And most importantly, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. The moment that enormous hand saw Lu Sheng, it launched an attack. With its massive palm, it struck down at full speed, trying to crush him completely. But before the attack could land, our hero swiftly dodged, slipping away just in time. Yet, the giant hand wasn't done. It swung behind him with full force, once again trying to smash him. Lu Sheng dodged once more, leaping forward and escaping. The hand slammed into the ground instead, and with each strike, the earth shattered into pieces, showing just how terrifyingly dangerous these blows truly were. Watching Lu Sheng evade so easily, a face suddenly appeared within that massive hand. Burning with rage, it glared at him and snarled, "Insect, cunning little insect. Don't even think about escaping me." The alien hand began to twist, morphing into a slightly different form. Keeping his distance, Lu Sheng looked at it, and said firmly, "Trying to use the same trick again to drag me into that gray bubble space. Too bad. I've already fallen for it once. Do you really think I'll fall for it again?" As he spoke, he gathered his strength, preparing a powerful attack. Continuing his words, he declared with confidence, "The same move cannot be used twice against a saint." And with that, he immediately unleashed a brilliant, glowing punch straight at the alien symbiotic monster. The attack shone with a blinding light, flooding the entire area in radiance as it hurtled toward the monster. Seeing the incoming strike, the monster didn't retreat, it braced itself, ready to resist. But the moment the attack exploded before it, its defense was shattered. In truth, it had been a distraction. For when the monster looked again, Lu Sheng was no longer standing before it. Furious, it roared in anger. By then, Lu Sheng had already moved far away. He raised his hand, mockingly showed his middle finger, and with a taunting grin said, "So, either let me go or come to me yourself." Seeing him escape so far, the monster's rage grew uncontrollable. It screamed furiously, "I will catch you. I swear I'll catch you." Hearing this, Lu Sheng simply laughed and replied with a carefree smile, "Then let's see if you can catch me someday." All right. No need to see me off." Saying this, he rose out of the sea, and moved forward. As he walked, he muttered to himself, "It's clear now. That thing can't do anything to me, because it truly cannot come out." After that, he lifted his hand to check the dream space. Origin power deduction. Azure Star's future. On the system's display panel, a chilling prediction appeared. 7 years later, the Azure Star will be destroyed. Reading these words, Lu Sheng's expression darkened. A hint of despair flashed across his face as he whispered softly to himself, "Shortened by another year." Probably because my repeated provocations angered it, making it dig through the barrier even faster. 7 years. That's still enough time for me to relocate all humans from Azure Star. To be safe, I can finish within 3 years. But as he thought this through, his expression suddenly grew extremely serious. Wait, what if? Just what if when it escapes from the abyss, it doesn't only bring the destruction of one planet, but unleashes a catastrophe that sweeps through an entire star region, or even an entire galaxy? Without hesitation, he quickly opened more dream space panels. If that's true, then this matter is much greater than I imagine. Let me simulate it again. He began scanning through the various panels, deducing the future of the entire Serpent Galaxy. Suddenly, his eyes froze on one particular panel. The display read, 7 years later, the Dark Lord invades. The White Mist Star region collapses. The Serpentis Galaxy completely falls, reduced to the frontline battlefield of the Dark Universe. Lu Sheng's heart pounded as shock spread across his face. What? Because of me, the countless life forms of the entire Serpentis galaxy have all had their lifespans shortened by a whole year. His eyes turned sharp, his tone grave, his expression weighted with responsibility. Now, every single move I make affects the future of this entire galaxy. The mistakes I've committed must be corrected by me alone. He clenched his fists. The truth was clear. He had only 7 years left. 7 years before the Azure Star would be destroyed. 7 years before the barrier between the Dark Universe and this one would be torn apart. 7 years before the Dark Lord's invasion, the destruction of the White Mist Star region, and the fall of the Serpentis galaxy into the first line of cosmic war. He compared it in his mind. It's like an apple. Once worms chew through the skin, all the people living inside the fruit will suffer. I have two choices. I either break through the peel myself, go outside and kill every worm before they dig through, or wait until the peel is completely broken and then be the first to sacrifice myself to block the gap. At this moment, only these two choices exist. Taking a deep breath, he made his resolve. No matter what, I need overwhelming strength to support me. Otherwise, I won't be killing worms. I'll just end up being eaten by them, and that would be laughable. A Dark Lord capable of causing the fall of an entire galaxy must be at least at level 14 or 15. He recalled something from his past deductions. Back then, how old was I supposed to be when I reached level 15? After that, he used his mental energy to summon a massive shark from beneath the wire. Holding the alien eye in his hand, he directly thrust it into the creature's mouth. The moment his hand entered the shark, the beast tasted his blood along with the mutated cells within him. As soon as it did, the shark itself began to mutate. The ordinary creature slowly evolved into something alien. From beneath its belly, grotesque mutated limbs, similar to the ones he had seen earlier under the water, began to sprout. Watching this transformation, Lucian muttered, "It works. Implant the alienated cells inside this level 8 beast." The mutated shark then returned to the depths of the water. Releasing it back into the sea, Lucian whispered, "I'll leave it here as a surveillance eye to monitor the excavation progress inside that abyssal rift. Even if these alienated cells encounter problems, it doesn't matter. At most, I'll lose a little mental energy. Its true essence still resides within my body." And after all this, he returned once again to Nanhai. Without delay, he stepped directly onto the ship where Ling Su was already waiting for him. The moment he saw her, he walked close, held her tightly, and said, "Let's go to another planet." Hearing his words, Ling Su looked at him for a moment and then hugged him back softly, replying, "All right. I will do whatever you say, my husband." The very next day, Lucian boarded the White Hole shuttle and departed from the Azure Star. Crossing over a dozen light years, he finally arrived before a blazing star that burned like a furious sun. As he gazed upon this massive, fiery planet, shining like a living sun itself, he muttered under his breath, "It should be here. This is the place." At that moment, his entire body was covered in psychic energy, shielding him from the intense flames. "I have deliberately chosen this place because right now, this is the most suitable martial arts training ground." After the star's explosion and its devastating impact on the surrounding planets teeming with life, the hero, Lu Shang, looked at his hand from which faint flames emerged. He muttered to himself, "Although I don't think that with my current strength, I can make a star in its prime explode. The surface temperature of a star reaches 6,000 Te. At 3,000 Te, steel will vaporize, and at 6,000 Te, even atoms will be in us. With my current strength, is it possible for me to withstand this temperature? I don't know, and it doesn't matter. We'll find out by trying. But before that, I need to boost my strength even more." Following this, Lucian made a call. The scene shifted to a girl's phone, displaying his incoming call. She answered, "Lord Lo, how can I help you?" Lucian replied, "I'll send you the coordinates now. Have someone send me a batch of energy crystal resources in 10 days. The girl agreed, "All right, Lord Lo." She then added, "The commander also told me to ask you whether the problem on your planet has been resolved or not." Hearing her, Lu Sheng smiled and said, "Yes, I have handled that problem very well, and thank you for helping me." The girl smiled back and said, "Yes, finally. As the Dean mentioned to you before, invitations to the Interstellar Martial Arts Talent Exchange Competition have been sent to the 12 surrounding star regions. The competition will be held in our sub-Jupiter region and will begin in 4 months." Lu Sheng simply replied, "Just let me know in advance. Bye," and ended the call. After the call, Lu Sheng entered the spaceship's training room, which was filled with crystals. Picking one up, he said, "Let's just use these supplies to hold out for a while." He then commanded the training room to be set to 50,000 times gravity. A notification confirmed the setting, and immediately, An overwhelming pressure forced him to his knees, with blood flowing from his mouth and nose. Smiling through the pain, he said, "This kind of feeling, it felt like the entire planet was pressing down on me." He gathered all his strength and struggled to stand, his legs trembling violently. Cuts began to appear on his body, but he kept smiling and said, "Gradually, I don't have time to do it step by step. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures." Shouting, he gathered his power to adapt to the crushing environment, a yellow aura forming around him. He declared, "I will try my best to become stronger regardless of everything." For the first time, Lushan devoted himself wholeheartedly to cultivation. While Lushan trained, invitations to the Interstellar Martial Arts Conference from the sub-Jupiter region were sent across star clusters at superluminal speed. In the Manian star region, the main figure read the invitation and was utterly shocked. "Having just discovered an immortal-level genius in the sub-Jupiter region, are you so eager to show him off?" He burned the invitation and declared, "I just won't do what you want. I won't go. All the geniuses and strong men in the Manian star region, listen to my command. None of you are allowed to go." The invitation also reached the branded region, where the boss's daughter read it and told her father, "Father, have you seen the invitation to the Interstellar Martial Arts Tournament from the Jupiter region?" Her father calmly replied, "I already know about it." The girl earnestly requested, "Archbishop, I earnestly request your permission to attend." Her father reminded her, "You know, he is an immortal-level genius with an extraordinary life form." With determination, she answered, "That's why I'm going. Being able to compete with an immortal bloodline is such a rare opportunity. Perhaps I can use this chance to break the limits of the Holy Mark seal and get one step closer to the great Lord God." Her father looked at her and said, "In this case, go, my daughter. Immortality is not an unbreakable myth. The great Holy Seal will guide you and glory will be revealed in you." The girl raised her head and declared with resolve, "I will never let you down." In the hill region, a man smoking a cigarette read the invitation with surprise. He remarked, "The sub-Jupiter region was really lucky this time as they were able to discover such a bloodline. However, the strength was only that of a 9th level. Yet they were eager to host the Genius Martial Arts Exchange competition. This was perhaps too much of a disregard for others." A man standing before him asked, "Dean, what are your orders?" The man on the chair smiled faintly and replied, "Your plan to go to the Ilian battlefield will have to be postponed. There is an interesting competition here that you may be interested in." As the young man, Hull, began to read the invitation, the one sitting before him thought to himself, "Already possesses a mid-12th grade son, level bloodline, but his cultivation technique allows him to conceal his true power." The invitation only specified level 11. And conveniently, Hull can suppress his power to that level. This makes things quite exciting. It would be hilarious if he accidentally slipped up and killed an immortal level from the sub-Jupiter region. Meanwhile, inside the spacecraft's gravity training room, Lucian was lying down with his eyes closed. After 10 days, he thought to himself, "It feels like I've shrunk a few of them." He lifted his hand and felt his increased power, thinking, "But my strength is incredibly solid, at least dozens of times stronger. Over 30,000 immortal cells are already enough to outline the star map of the Sun God realm. It's almost there. So it's time for this." But seeing the Flame Demon King before him, our MC became extremely serious. A look of anger appeared on his face, and in a rage, he said, "Flame Demon King, so it's you." At that moment, the Flame Demon King stood before the MC. His height was much greater than the MC's, and he looked massive. In comparison, the MC looked very small in front of him. However, our MC noticed something about the Flame Demon King and said, "No, something's not right. Although he's much stronger than the clone of the barbaric Bull Demon King, he doesn't have the aura of a god-level being." As soon as he had this thought, a smile appeared on our MC's face. Laughing, he said, "Is it because you don't have enough of Zangyan's power, or are you being suppressed by the instance's rules, Flame Demon? This body of yours seems a bit weak." Hearing the MC's words, the Flame Demon King laughed and said, "You're pretty perceptive to have figured that out. But so what? Even if this body can't unleash even a tenth of its power, it's still more than enough to kill you." Flames blazed all over the Flame Demon King's body, and fire erupted from his eyes. The thought of killing the MC made him excited and delighted. Hearing these words, the MC smiled and said with confidence, "Do you really think you're going to kill me?" While the two were talking, the dark power from the stone had already surrounded an entire section of the Beast Plateau dungeon, causing the whole area to be engulfed in dark energy. Instantly, due to this energy, a level 46 Highland Wild Wolf was automatically summoned. Because of the dark energy, The beast mutated on its own and became a level 52 mutated Plato wolf. As soon as it mutated, its rage intensified, and it let out a thunderous roar. Seeing this beast, the MC immediately activated his skeleton armor and lightning wings, preparing to fly away. Flying up, he laughed and said confidently, "You'll never be able to kill me here." However, a thought then arose in his mind. Of all the places to end up, why did it have to be the beast god Plato? This place is filled with my weapons. The MC quickly started flying away at full speed. Seeing him flee, the Flame Demon King shouted in anger, "You insect, you think you can run away from here? Keep dreaming if you think you'll escape from me." When he saw that our MC wasn't stopping, he roared again. "Don't even dream about it. You can't run away. I'll burn you until not even ashes are left of you." Right after that, a huge eye became visible behind the Flame Demon King. From within that enormous eye, laser beams launched directly at the MC. Seeing the deadly beams chasing him, the MC immediately started dodging them at full speed, weaving through them with intense focus. As he evaded the attack, he thought to himself, "If I want to kill the Flame Demon, I'll have to rely on two skills, Corpse Explosion, and Strong Soldier. I must find the perfect opportunity for a one-hit kill. I can't give him even a moment to react." With this strategy in mind, our MC decided to depend on his skeleton army. "I'll send the skeleton army to distract him," he thought. "Meanwhile, I'll stall him with everything I've got." Without wasting a second, he summoned his Sai. There was a slight tension on his face, but his confidence remained unshaken. He swiftly used the scythe to summon the Soul-Eating Insect King, and commanded it to attack. As soon as the Soul-Eating Insect King heard its master's order, it rushed directly toward the Flame Demon King and unleashed a powerful sound wave attack. Seeing this sudden interference, the Flame Demon King raised his hand to retaliate and scoffed. "Where did this little bug come from? Interrupting my work." Saying this, he instantly grabbed the Soul-Eating Insect King by the neck. Annoyed by the discomfort the sound wave was causing, he growled, "You're becoming too much of a nuisance." With that, he released a powerful flame from his hand, burning the Soul-Eating Insect King to ashes in a single strike. The MC, still dashing ahead at full speed, looked back and realized his summoned creature had been destroyed. A drop of sweat appeared on his face as he thought anxiously, "Although the Soul-Eating Insect King's strength was already falling short, I didn't expect it to buy me so little time. I don't know how long the Earth-touching Dragon God will be able to hold him off." He desperately needed time, but he wasn't getting even a second of it. Without delay, our MC summoned the Earth-touching Dragon God. As soon as it appeared, it charged straight toward the Flame Demon King, blocking his path. Watching his opponent unleash trick after trick, the Flame Demon King became irritated. "This kid sure has a lot of tricks up his sleeve." Just then, the Earth-touching Dragon God launched a sudden attack. It caught him slightly off guard, but he quickly recovered and threw a powerful punch at the dragon. The blow only slightly cracked the thin outer layer of its body. The Flame Demon King continued his relentless assault, tearing through the dragon's body piece by piece. Within moments, the Earth-touching Dragon God collapsed to the ground defeated. Right after, the huge eye appeared once more, and laser beams launched toward the MC again. This time, however, the MC had already gained some distance. He narrowly dodged the attacks and managed to push forward unharmed, but the Flame Demon King was now right behind him. When the MC looked back and saw him approaching so closely, his expression turned serious. He tried to increase his speed, but no matter how hard he pushed, he couldn't accelerate much more. The Flame Demon King had already caught up, slowly closing the distance. As he flew behind our MC, he laughed and said, "What's wrong now? Can't fly anymore." Then he muttered to himself, "Truly surprising. At your level, not only can you fly, but you can also summon so many undead. The longer you stay alive in this world, the more harm it brings to my abyss. You must be eliminated as early as possible." Immediately, laser beams surrounded the MC from all sides, raining down from the sky in a circular formation and blocking all paths. The beams created a cage-like trap around him. Still, the MC struggled to escape through the gaps, but his speed had dropped significantly. As he squeezed through the deadly beams, he thought to himself, as expected of the Demon King, "Not even the Soul-Eating Insect King or the Earth-touching Dragon God could buy me much time." Just then, he felt something strange that sent a chill down his spine. Fear overtook him instantly. When he turned around in shock, he saw the Flame Demon King's giant punch coming straight at him at full speed. There was no time to dodge. In the next moment, the powerful punch slammed into our MC, sending him crashing to the ground at immense speed. The moment he hit the ground, a cry of pain escaped his lips, and blood splattered from his mouth. Lying on the ground, struggling through the pain, The MC clenched his fists, and thought, so, this is the power of the Demon King. After landing such a powerful punch, the Flame Demon King burst into loud laughter and declared, so, in the end, you've fallen into my hands. Now you'll die. The moment he said those words, laser beams began raining down from the sky, targeting the MC. As countless beams struck, the entire area was engulfed in dust and debris. But just then, amidst the swirling dust, aging curse chains began extending toward the Demon King. Even after enduring such intense attacks, our MC had managed to activate the chains. They started to wrap tightly around the Flame Demon King, and the moment they bound him, a skeleton-shaped debuff mark glowed on his body, a symbol powerful enough to significantly weaken many of the Demon King's abilities. Without wasting a second, the MC immediately followed up with a Soul Flame attack. Struggling against the effects, the Flame Demon King roared, "Enraged bastard. I'll tear you into 1,000 pieces." Infuriated, he quickly summoned numerous floating eyes around him to defend against the attack and to break the aging curse chains that were binding him. From within those eyes, laser beams began pouring down like rain, attacking everything in the vicinity. With a smile, Trinus looked at Leo and said, "So, Leo, you must have a lot of work to do." "That's fine, but tell me one thing. Can you explain what a space battlefield is?" Hearing Trinus's words, Leo, who had been gazing outside the spaceship, began to explain, "The alien space battlefield. It is the cradle of the strong, the arena for geniuses, and a meat grinder for the weak. At any moment, talented and powerful individuals are rising, while unfortunate souls are falling in death. Blood and fire fill the entire expanse. There is no time to breathe, only despair and death." As Trinus listened, she smiled to herself, feeling an attraction to him. He is so charming, she thought. I really want to throw myself into his arms. No, they have to hold back. Controlling herself, Trinus raised a hand toward Leo, smiling, and said, "Let the bad memories go. Mr. Leo, the fact that you returned alive from the alien battlefield proves you are an extraordinary warrior. If you participated in the interstellar talent competition, you might not shine the brightest, but you would definitely have no problem securing a good position." Leo stood in complete silence, his face showing no expression. He then said to Trinus, "I've long grown tired of fighting and am indifferent to fame and fortune. Now, I just want a place to stay and live a normal life." Upon hearing this, Trinus became overjoyed and immediately made him an offer. "Then Mr. Leo, why don't you come to my caravan and serve as our guard leader? You can name your own terms." Stepping a little closer to Leo, she blushed and added, "Leo, you will definitely not be disappointed with our hospitality." Leo's expression soured with a hint of disappointment. He was about to say something when suddenly the entire spaceship began to shake violently as if it had been attacked. Trinus immediately fell to the ground, but Leo remained standing firm. At that moment, a man appeared on the screen. "Captain, our spaceship is under attack by pirates." Hearing this, Trinus was completely shocked. Sweat dripped from her face, her mouth agape in disbelief. "What pirates? What am I going to do?" she stammered. While she was still on the ground, Leo, standing behind her, said calmly, "Quickly, take me to the guard team." Shocked, Trinus turned to look back at him. The scene shifted to the exterior of the massive spaceship, where countless smaller pirate ships were advancing to attack. Inside the spaceship's defense hall, Leo and Trinus had arrived. The guards' faces lit up upon seeing Leo. "Lord Leo has arrived. Now we're all safe," they exclaimed. Leo lowered his head and said, "Everyone relax. This is no big deal." Standing beside him, Trinus smiled to herself, thinking, "I feel much more at ease with him around." Then Leo asked, "Are all the guards here?" Trinus smiled and replied, "We're all here. All the forces of our Emerald Merchant group are present. Give the order to fight the pirates." A pleased expression crossed Leo's face. "Good. That's very good," he said. Gripping his sword with one hand, he placed his other hand on Trinus's shoulder, pulling her toward him. Trinus was shocked by this sudden action. In the next moment, an evil look appeared on Leo's face. He drew his sword and launched a devastating attack, a spinning slash aimed not at the enemy, but at the guards standing right in front of him. Before the guards could even realize what was happening, their bodies were torn into countless pieces, and they collapsed in an instant, screaming in agony. It was too late. Leo had annihilated them with a single strike. Witnessing this, Trinus was terrified and utterly shocked, unable to make a sound. Leo's hand slid from her shoulder to her neck, gripping her throat tightly. He pulled her into his arms, and whispered chillingly, "You have always been my prey. The alien battlefield has many colors, you know. The blood of the star race, for instance, is quite colorful and beautiful. I wondered if your blood is as beautiful. He added coldly, there is one more thing I forgot to tell you. It's not that I don't want to participate in the Interstellar Genius Conference, but that I can't. I am a deserter from the Ilian battlefield. After my identity was stripped, I am not even a citizen of the starry sky anymore. As Leo was speaking, the pirates stormed into the spaceship. They were not strangers, they were Leo's own companions. One of them smirked at Leo and said, the boss's strategy is truly superb. He won their trust with a little trick and took them down without any effort. The men behind him erupted in praise for Leo. Upon discovering Leo's true identity, Trinus was utterly terrified. Shaking, she looked at him and said, so, you are Star Dove Leo, and rank interstellar fugitive wanted in over 8-star regions. Leo only smiled. How truly delightful to reacquaint myself with you, dear Trinus, he replied. Stunned, her eyes wide with disbelief, Trinus shouted back, your complacency won't last long. The Emerald has been under surveillance by the Interstellar Law Enforcement Department's network. The moment you attacked, the Interstellar Police were dispatched. Leo burst into laughter. Oh, really? Thank you for the reminder, dear. It's time for us to evacuate. He then turned to his men and commanded, everyone, listen carefully. We must leave here within 1 minute. His men responded in unison. Grabbing Trinus by the hair, Leo sneered, Trinus, you've helped me once again. His tone grew darker. I hate wasting food. I usually eat every grain of rice in the bowl. I've decided tonight. I'll have all my men take turns with you. How does that sound? Her fear turned to fury. You bastard. How dare you? She screamed. Leo laughed mockingly, and pointed to one of his companions. She asked me if I dared. Do you dare? The man grinned with excitement. With the boss's order, we dare to do anything. Suddenly, one of the pirates noticed something outside. His eyes widened as he shouted, wait a minute, what is that thing? As they all looked, shock spread across their faces. A blazing, eagle-like object was streaking through space toward them. That's a star. But it's not too far away. One of them muttered. But it wasn't a star. It was the hero, Lu Sheng, surging straight toward the spaceship. The moment Leo laid eyes on him, fear struck deep into his heart. His entire body trembled, and not a single sound escaped his mouth. At this moment, Trinus was in Leo's clutches. And when Leo looked outside the spaceship and saw such a powerful lightning storm, he was terrified. He couldn't understand what was out there. In anger, he threw Trinus to the other side and shouted furiously, what is this? What's going on here? Just then, a few more people arrived and asked Leo, boss, what happened? Leo was staring outside the spaceship, and in the blazing flames beyond, he suddenly caught sight of a figure. Shock filled him as he exclaimed in disbelief. Outside the spaceship, we could see our hero, Lu Sheng. His entire body was glowing in a brilliant golden light, and fire and lightning were manifesting all around him. The moment Leo saw this, he shouted angrily at his men, attack, with all your strength, attack the star ahead. Following Leo's command, small spaceships immediately launched from within the main ship, heading straight toward the star. All the spaceships were charging up, their laser cannons glowing with deadly energy, and the crew shouted, we are ready to fire. As soon as the charge was complete, they all unleashed their firepower on the star inside which our hero was. The attack was ferocious, moving forward at full force. But the moment Lu Sheng felt the assault, he suddenly opened his eyes. As soon as his eyes opened, the incoming attacks were destroyed on their own. One by one, the spaceships surrounding the star also began to explode and disintegrate. With nothing but Lu Sheng's mental power, everything had been annihilated. Meanwhile, from another spaceship, Leo was watching this scene unfold. Panic seized him as he shouted to his men, scatter, do you hear me? Scatter at once. But there was no reply from the other side. The only sounds that came were the agonized screams and cries of pain. Hearing this, Leo fell to his knees. He couldn't believe what had just happened. He couldn't even comprehend what kind of being stood before him. Then we saw Lu Sheng emerge from within the star. His entire body was wrapped in blazing flames. As he stepped out, he waved his hand, instantly extinguishing the fire surrounding him, and his clothes reappeared neatly on his body. His eyes fixed on the spaceship head, and with a single flicker of motion, he appeared inside it. The sight of Lu Sheng made Leo tremble with fear as he asked, who are you? At that moment, our hero stood before him. And as Leo felt the aura emanating from within, he froze in shock. How can you release such a powerful aura at just the 10th level? Seeing Lu Sheng at the 10th level, Leo prepared himself for battle. He shouted angrily while charging forward, don't underestimate me. Lightning surged violently into his hand as he advanced toward our hero. Watching him draw closer, Lu Shen calmly used the golden crow perfect martial art technique. With a snap of his fingers, a fiery golden crow shot out from his hand. The moment it struck Leo, the lightning in his hand was instantly disrupted, and flames spread across his body. Leo screamed in agony, his body burning as he cried out, "Is this really the power of the 10th level?" But within moments, he was consumed by the flames and destroyed. While his remaining team members, still clutching their weapons, were dumbfounded. Watching their boss suddenly vanish into nothingness left them horrified. "What? The boss is gone." One shouted in disbelief. Another stammered, "This is terrifying." That was an 11th level top boss, destroyed in just a single strike. When everyone present felt as if their entire bodies had been struck by lightning. Their hearts filled with shock and dread, which was quickly followed by fear. Then, with just another snap of our hero's fingers, all of them were annihilated as well. One Trini's, still sitting on the ground, looked around at the scene unfolding before her. She couldn't believe what had just happened. Lu Shen walked over to her and asked, "Are you all right? Contact the Star Police. I've already taken care of everything." The moment Trini saw our hero, she immediately recognized him. With disbelief and awe, she asked, "Are you the immortal legend?" Quickly lowering her head respectfully, she said, "It's an honor to meet you, adult." As she bowed, her mind was racing. Could this really be him? This is the might of immortality. Meanwhile, Lu Shen looked at his own body and murmured softly to himself, "How powerful I've truly become." At this moment, Lu Shen himself didn't even know the extent of his own strength. In fact, no one knew, and perhaps no one ever could. After this, the story shifts forward a little to where our hero is inside the spaceship, checking details and muttering to himself, "Every time I activate the Stellar Supreme Body, my clothes get destroyed. Luckily, I can use my spiritual power to reconstruct them. Otherwise, I'd really end up looking like some kind of exhibitionist." Then he begins talking to his family. The first person he calls is his wife. He greets her warmly and tells her, "I've finally come out of quarantine." Taking advantage of the grand event being held in the Star District, the Interstellar Martial Arts Genius Exchange Conference, Lu Shen had arranged for his parents, his wife, and several martial saints he was on good terms with to be brought to the Star District. After talking with all of them for a while, he ends the call and murmurs to himself, "This should serve as a bit of preparation for my parents. When the time comes to move them away from Blue Star, it'll be much easier to explain. My target is the main star zone of the Star District. There, another grand event awaits me." Meanwhile, at the main satellite port of the Star District, thanks to countless resources provided by the nobility, Lu Shen's family had already reached a martial level equivalent to the 6th rank. His parents even looked much younger than before. Some people from Earth had also arrived on this new planet. Seeing the breathtaking sights, our hero's father exclaimed in awe, "So this is a higher-level civilized planet." His mother looked at the clothes she was wearing, and said with a smile, "What fabric is this dress made from? It feels so nice and comfortable." At this time, our hero's wife and younger sister were also there. His sister, Lu King, took out her device, snapped a selfie, and immediately posted it. "Whoa, space civilization. I actually saw an extraterrestrial civilization with my own eyes. Guys, look at this." Dongking Su also arrived and softly said, "So this is where Lu Shen came." Some other acquaintances who had once followed Lu Shen came too. One of them sighed emotionally. "Back then, when I used to follow Lord Lu, I never imagined a day like this would come." Just then, a group of locals from the planet approached respectfully, looking at our hero's family and saying, "Welcome, honored guests, to the 8th Star Zone. On behalf of the Star District Federation, we extend to you our sincerest and warmest welcome." Hearing this, our hero's father whispered in surprise, "Why do I feel like we're being treated like leaders? It's truly overwhelming." His mother chuckled and said, "Yes, it's all thanks to our Shanger." Then his younger sister excitedly pointed out, Oh, these clothes even have automatic translation. We can communicate without any barriers at all." Right after that, she grabbed one of the local planetary officials for another selfie. "Brothers, did you see this? This dark-skinned, courageous looking alien is actually the representative sent by the Star District government to welcome us." At that very moment, a massive spaceship descended. Seeing it, our hero's sister gasped in amazement. "What a gigantic spacecraft." She quickly lifted her camera out and added, "Look, guys, I'm taking a close-up shot." As the ship approached, one of the locals glanced at the symbol emblazoned on it. His eyes widened in shock and he stammered in disbelief. "Could this be the very ones I think it is?" So, friends, that brings us to the end of this chapter. What twists await us next? We'll find out in the upcoming episode. Make sure to rate this chapter out of 10 in the comments below. We'll catch you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. What are your predictions for the next chapter? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.